Good morning. I wanted you to meet Damien. He's my stage 5 Klingon who likes to come and sit on my lap a lot. Actually, my son's cat. He brought him here because he was moving and he couldn't have him, so I told him we would keep him at least for a while. He's a really good cat. We like Damien. Say hi, Damien. Okay, you go play now. Today we're going to talk about office property management. Actually, a lot simpler in so many respects than residential because you have some requirements, of course, for your space with the Americans with Disabilities Act and accessibility issues. But it's very different than housing, which is much more broad in what must be accommodated and allowed. For example, in a public building like an office, you do not have to allow people to bring in companion animals. A service animal has to be specifically trained to perform a task. Thus, if you have somebody who says, oh, this is my companion animal, that he's my service animal, I need to have him here because he keeps me from getting stressed out, you don't have to accommodate that. So it's not so much important with an office, but mostly you're looking at accessibility issues, and some of you did address that in your assignments, which, by the way, I want to comment, were just beautiful. Your assignment 3 recently graded, and I just truly commend all of you for your hard work and your effort. You know, I gave you a hard assignment, and you've had a couple of tough assignments. These are things that I know many of you have never seen this kind of accounting before or had anything to do with it, and you have all really stepped up and shown me that you are so capable, and I'm very impressed with your work product and with your effort, and I'm so excited. It was so fun to grade those assignments. I just wanted to tell you that I'm very, very pleased with your work product, and you did a great job. We have in our office property management chapter, we talk again about how you compare various properties and how you might adjust rental rates based on various amenities in those properties. The book also talks about the types of, or the rating system for office properties. Class A, Class B, and Class C are typically the things you'll see. Class A would be your super high-rise Trump Tower, you know, beautiful gold-plated everything, every amenity under the sun, a view, a beautiful location, you know, just top of the line building. There aren't a whole lot of true Class A office spaces even in Boise. Class B is somewhat less than that. It's very nice, it's lovely, but it's just not, maybe has as many high-end finishes or maybe just not as many amenities, but it's still an above average, lovely, lovely space. Class C is your more functional, older perhaps, maybe some obsolete features in it that haven't been addressed, or some deferred maintenance perhaps, older, needs some updating, needs some tender loving care. Class C, they tend to be, you know, very inexpensive, and they work fine for some people. So it just depends on what your budget can afford and what you're looking for. Of course, I think that you'll have more maintenance issues on an ongoing basis with a Class C property, but you also will have a lot of maintenance with Class A because people who are paying top dollar for a property will expect it to be maintained to the hilt. And you'll probably need some sort of on-site staff depending on the size of the property and that kind of thing. So, you know, we don't run into a lot of that in Boise, but if you ever go to another state or a large city, you definitely will. Something to be aware of. The types of leases that you'll find also tend to be very different than residential. You usually see a little bit longer term lease for an office property than you do for residential. People don't like to get locked into living somewhere for 5 years, whereas it's not a bit uncommon to sign a 5-year lease for an office space. If you have a brick and mortar location that you need, if you move around a lot, it's very expensive to change all your envelopes and letterhead and all that, and your location that people know where you are, you don't want to be hopping around because you want to be accessible to them. It costs a lot of money to move desks and computer equipment and servers and run the right kind of wiring, and so people tend to find a spot they like and they tend to stay there for a while. That's a really good thing if you're a property manager, especially if you have a good tenant. It makes your life a lot easier. and you don't have people coming and going and cleaning issues. The types of leases, as you may recall from earlier in the semester, range from full service, which has to do with the landlord pays for absolutely everything, all the utilities for the property, the janitorial services, the whole 9 yards, to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which would be a triple net lease, meaning that the tenant pays for absolutely everything. The tenant pays for their share of the property taxes, the maintenance on the building, the snow removal, the parking lot, striping, you name it, the whole ball of wax. It's very much more common in commercial property to see a triple net lease or some variation of it. Now, our office is a state agency, and we have a leasing agent for the state. She's responsible for issuing requests for proposal for rental space and also negotiating the leases. And she tries to negotiate full service leases for all of the state agencies because we're small many times, and we don't want to have to worry about writing checks to the custodian or calling to have somebody come and plow the driveway, those kinds of things. And so she tries to negotiate. We pay a little bit higher per square foot rental rate, but we also have all of those things and the utilities included in our lease, so we're not paying those bills separately. Again, a little bit different in that typically residential property is rented out by a set amount per month, and office and commercial space is rented, rent rate is usually expressed in terms of an amount per square foot. Our current rental rate is around $14 a square foot or $14.50 a square foot for our office for a full service lease, and you'll see all the way up to $20 some a square foot, and down to $6 or $7 a square foot maybe for a Class C property. It just depends on where you are and what you're looking for. Again, I want to commend you for your beautiful work on your assignments, and I wish you all a very pleasant week.